UFC on FX5 was this past Friday in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The highlight, of course, being Bigfoot Silva versus Travis Browne. Bigfoot Silva knocking out Travis Browne in the first round after Travis Browne tore his hamstring. I actually briefly spoke to Travis Browne yesterday. He said that he has a MRI scheduled for this morning, and he is going to find out if he needs surgery. But Bigfoot Silva picking up his first ever UFC win. Very happy after. Jumped on top of the cage. He was so heavy on top of the cage that he actually blew the door wide open. And he was screaming so much that in the post-fight interview, he had no voice. Picking up his first win. A lot of people want to see him fight Stefan Struve next. I think that kind of makes sense. Also in the co-main event, Jake Ellenberger avenging his June 2006 loss to Jay Haran in a not so exciting affair, but it was a win, so a win is a win. And then you also had the Dotson-Formiga fight, which didn't bother me as much as it did other people. I thought that people were... The problem with the MMA fans these days, especially when the UFC comes to a market for the first time in a long time, is they're so anxious, they're so passionate, they're so not bloodthirsty, but they just want to see a knockout. They would rather see a 10-second knockout than a grade 3-round fight. So if it doesn't appear like a fight is going in that direction, they get upset and they boo. And obviously that pissed off Pat Barry. It didn't bother me. I'd like to see less booing. I'd like to see the fans look at the fights in a little more educated way and understand that it takes some time to impose your will and your game plan. And Dotson did end up knocking out Formiga, which is a pretty impressive thing. And now he's going to fight Demetrius Johnson. Justin Edwards defeated Josh Neer. And I believe our own New York Rick said on this very show that Mr. Justin Edwards did not deserve or hadn't done enough to deserve his spot on the main card. And boom, what does he do? He submits the long-lost Diaz brother, Josh Neer.
Hold on.
Oh, there he is. What an entrance.
First of all,
isn't that what you said?
Let me clarify what I said. What I actually said was he hadn't shown me anything in his 2 UFC fights to make me believe that he was worthy of that main card spot and in a fight against Josh Neer. And I thought Neer was going to steamroll him. Second thing I'd like to say is you agreed with me.
I don't know about that.
And the third thing I'd like to say is all the props in the world to Justin Edwards. Amazing win. Couldn't have been more wrong. Eat the crow with a smile on my face.
Wow.
Congrats to him.
Okay. Do you want to go into the picks?
Yeah, let's do that. Or we can recap how I did at the
Sure.
last event first.
Okay, but did you get in touch with Eric?
Yeah, he's going to be on it too.
Okay, perfect. All right, how'd you do? What's your record?
The current standings are 11-8.
What?
Because I went 2-4.
Whoa.
On UFC on FX.
That means you went.
I was 9-4.
Yeah. Okay.
Up to that point.
All right.
What happened was I got, let's say, the first fight I got wrong was Neer and Edwards. Couldn't have been more wrong.
Okay.
Edwards won very easily.
So I hear.
Another fight I got wrong was, well, first let's go. What I got right was Jussier de Silva, Formiga versus Dodson. I picked Dodson. I said he was going to take him apart on the feet and eventually knock him out. He did that. Another one I got wrong was Castillo and Michael Johnson, which looked like I was going to win it at first in that first round. But then Michael Johnson warded off the takedown, completely rocked him, and finished that fight. So I got that one wrong. Then Ellenberger versus Haran. I got the winner right. I picked Ellenberger, but I told everybody to go inside the distance because I was so sure he was going to take him out.
Right.
And he ended up not taking him out. So I'm not going to take credit for picking the winner.
You
in
get
that
a
one.
half.
Nah, I don't want the half.
Okay. Wow.
That's incorrect.
Wow.
I didn't give you the right pick. He didn't win inside the distance, so I was wrong.
Wow.
And then in the main event, I said Brown inside the distance, which didn't happen. But I did correctly say that my lock was minus 350. You could have gotten that fight not going the distance, and there was no chance in hell that it was going to go to the distance, and it didn't. So that was the second one I got right for a record of 2-4.
Okay. So you enter UFC 153 with 11-8 record, you said?
That's correct.
And just to recap, we said that you must be above 500 by the end of this 4-week stretch. You must be 500 or above. No, I said above 500, right?
It's fine. I'm not nervous anyway. I got this.
Okay. To continue Rick's picks. So what do you got?
Okay,
And we got a lot of lines, right?
Yeah, this one actually has 6 lines. The full main card has all the lines.
Okay.
So we're going to start with the main event, obviously. Anderson Silva versus Stephan Bonnar.
Yep.
Anderson Silva minus 1,200, 12-1 favorite. Stephan Bonnar plus 775.
Okay.
The breakdown on this, there's really nothing other to say than Anderson Silva is going to win. The only prop bet available is the fight going to decision at plus 260 or finishing inside the distance at minus 380.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like either of those just because you don't know which Anderson Silva is going to show up, the one that kind of wants to toy around with a lesser opponent or the one who's a straight killer like the one that showed up against Forrest Griffin.
Right.
The other thing that you have to factor in is Stephan Bonnar's a tank. Nobody takes that guy out. So it would really come down to, can Anderson Silva do that? So I don't like either of those prop bets, and I definitely don't like betting on Anderson Silva at minus 1,200. So I'd stay completely away from this fight in terms of betting. Unless more props come out that look attractive, this one's no bet. Just stay away completely.
And just for the record, betting aside, do you actually think Stephan has a chance?
I feel like those promos swayed me a little bit just because he's so personable. He's so likable.
Can we talk about those promos for a second? I love the promo. You're talking about the promo with him and Forrest, right?
Correct.
I like the promo, but I think there is a dangerous line between comedy and selling a fight. I love the promo. Let me just say that. I love the promo. But when I sat back and thought about it, is Stephan going into Brazil to be a part of history, to fight Anderson Silva, to get a nice payday, to get his Twitter follower fight? Or is he actually going to beat Anderson Silva? Because at the end of the day, that's what we want to care about. That's what we want to know. Are you coming in there to beat Anderson Silva? Are you coming in there to shock the world? He's saying it, but it's almost like, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? I
do get what you're saying, but I feel there's no question Stephan Bonnar is going in there with one purpose, and that's to win. He doesn't come off to me as one of those fighters that would think that. I understand that you're saying the videos present that mentality, and I agree with you. It's like, ha ha ha, he has no chance to win. Yeah. It's kind of
comedy is a dangerous thing.
But Stephan Bonnar himself, I would never question what his goal is. He's going in there to win.
Are you interested in this fight?
I'm interested in it, but I really don't give him a chance at all.
Are you going to buy it? Like, if you're a fan, obviously you're working that night, but if you're a fan, would you buy it?
Yeah, because the card is stacked outside of that.
It is
and
actually
it's going to be
a
a fun
good
fight.
It's a good main card with John. I love the Fitch Eric Silva fight. What a perfect fight. We'll talk about that in a second. But I just wanted to say, I love the promo. I love that they're thinking outside the box. I love that they're doing the whole, like, aw, shucks. That's exactly what they needed to do. But it got me thinking how people will respond to that. Because at the end of the day, this is fighting. This is, mixed. This is real. And you want to believe that this guy is going in there to actually try to win and not just try to be a part of a moment and get the fight that he's been looking for. So it's going to be interesting to see what the buy rate is for that fight. Obviously, in Brazil, they're going to be into it, but I wonder. Okay, so you're saying you're staying away from that one
completely. Okay, there's no good lines out for that right now. No prop bets, and the just the straight pick is way too high. 12-1, not worth putting any money down on Silva. And Bonnar is not going to win, so not worth putting any money down on him.
Okay.
So then the next one is the one you love, Eric Silva versus John Fitch. Eric Silva is a favorite, a slight favorite, minus 120, which means it's about an even fight. It's a coin flip, essentially.
Okay.
If whatever you bet, you get back. John Fitch is plus 100, which is exactly, you bet one, you get one. my breakdown on the fight is all the momentum's with Silva right now. He's the hottest thing in MMA. Everybody's picking him. And Fitch is on a little bit of a downturn just because his last fight was a loss. But remember, the fight before that was a draw with BJ Penn, and before that, he hadn't lost in forever.
Right.
So I feel like that's swaying the momentum that's with Silva. The hype is kind of swaying the betting line a little bit. I think that the Fitch line,
Okay.
plus 100, is a steal. Anytime you can get a grinding wrestler like Fitch for even money, jump all over it. He has the style to take out Silva, even if it's not going to be the most flashy. See, a lot of people think, oh, he's not exciting, but that has nothing to do with the betting. He's one of those wrestlers that takes you down and holds you there, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does it to Silva. And that's with all due respect to Silva. He very well may be the next big thing, but how many next big things have been derailed by a grinding wrestler that just holds them down? It's too powerful a position in MMA, and I think that Fitch is the line here that you want to take. And one thing I'd like to add to that is just that there's a sneaky good bet. I'm not recommending this just because I can't, but it's just something to keep your eye on if you're feeling a little frisky, which is Fitch inside the distance at plus 774.
What?
So you can get Fitch inside the distance at 7-1. So let's say he gets him down to the mat and pulls off maybe a rear naked choke or some kind of TKO, ground and pound. I mean, that fight against BJ Penn, that could have been stopped. He could have gotten a TKO there. He landed a lot of unanswered shots. He was never in danger of really hurting BJ Penn.
Sure.
But the sheer volume could have made it possible. So I think that's something you might want to keep an eye on if you have confidence in Fitch. But I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend taking Fitch straight up at plus 100.
Wow. I like it. You know, this is really do or die for Fitch. I mean,
Absolutely.
I think and everyone knows that if he doesn't have a good performance, if he loses and looks good, I think he buys himself another fight. If it appears as though he's just trying to do the same old and loses, I think he could be in trouble. Such an important fight for him. He hasn't fought in almost a year, since December of last year. Going into Brazil against Silva, who's looked fantastic, who just beat up a wrestler in Charlie Brenneman. Although I obviously think that Fitch is on a higher level. I like it. I like that pick. Now you're shedding the label of being a guy who just picks favorites. All right, what else you got?
The next fight is Demi and Maya versus Rick Story.
Okay.
This is I love this fight, by the way.
Yeah,
I think
170.
this is awesome.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Everybody underrates Maya's striking. Although they give him credit for improving, I think they're not giving him enough credit. It's pretty serviceable at this point. He lasts long enough on his feet to make his ground game a threat, and you have to actually cover up. So, for example, he looked great against Stun Gun. Yes, Stun Gun got injured, but he looked great before that injury. When he took him down, I think it was a judo throw. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he looked great at 170 before that injury occurred.
It was like a weird, I don't really know what it was, because you remember he got injured right as he was throwing him. Perhaps it was judo. Was it judo? Judo on the judoka? Maybe.
I think it was, but he might have been hurt. I really don't remember.
Sloppy.
I'd have to look back at it.
Right.
But I just remember being very impressed with Maya. I've always been a Maya fan. So,
what's your pick?
My pick on this one is, I didn't give the numbers.
Oh, right.
Maya minus 140, Rick Story plus 120. So Maya's the slight favorite. Another very close one on the betting lines. I'm picking Maya. I think that Story's momentum is completely gone. He was riding real high before that Brenneman fight, and he's lost again since. So I think that Maya's going to be able to take him to the mat and kind of return to his submission grappling roots. He's kind of been this guy who's like, I'll try and stand, show what I can do, show my complete game. But I think in this one and the last one he tried to, he's going to get back to his roots where he throws Chael Sonnen on the floor and triangles him. I think he's gonna pull that kind of Demi and Maya. It's gonna be that kind of performance. He's gonna completely outclass Rick Story on the ground and submit him. So my pick is Maya, and I see him submitting him.
Nice. I like it. I like that pick.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident about that.
I like the fight as well. It's an interesting fight, important fight for Rick Story, but a good pick.
Yep.
What else?
Okay, we got 3 more.
All right. Well, we're going 6.
Yep.
Well, you didn't really pick on the first one.
I picked, but
Well, yeah,
don't bet on it.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got Phil Davis versus Wagner Prado.
Right.
This is a rematch of the fight that kind of started but never really finished, where Wagner got eye poked by Phil Davis.
Mm-hmm.
The line on this is Phil Davis minus 365, Prado plus 255. In this one, there's really not much I can go on with Prado because he hasn't had that fight yet. But I think that one thing that was overblown was, and you'll know about this, was when people were saying Phil Davis wasn't using his wrestling in the first round against Prado. And people were calling him out, including the broadcast team.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm happy you brought that up.
It's complete nonsense. The first round wasn't even over.
It was
yet.
like a minute.
It was so early in the fight.
It's like when the people
Pat
Pat Barry getting mad at the fans. They were doing the same thing.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So that said, controversy aside, I think that I'm picking Phil Davis just because you have to go with the wrestler here. I don't like the line, though. I wouldn't bet on this fight because I don't really know enough about Prado yet. We haven't really seen his arsenal yet. But all the conversation says that he's really tough. Mm-hmm. And he looked pretty comfortable in the octagon, I have to say, against Davis. He looked like he was ready to fight. There's some guys who come in, they look a little tentative, but he was ready to compete. But I'm still going with Davis just because you have to go with the wrestler on this one. But I wouldn't bet on this fight. I don't like the odds on Davis, 365.
Damn. You're getting all scared.
Well, here's the thing. I'll transition right into the next fight.
Okay.
You could get Glover Teixeira at minus 400 versus Fabio Maldonado, who's at plus 280. So if you're going to go with a number like in the high 3 to 400 range, you might as well take Glover rather than Phil Davis.
Okay.
Because we've seen Maldonado. We know what he brings. We've seen Glover. We know what we're getting there. Whereas Prado's a bit of a wild card. So the breakdown for Glover and Maldonado, the way I see it is basically Maldonado's a great boxer. He throws those body shots unlike anybody else. But Glover's a little better. He's more powerful. He's a little more plodding, but he has that huge knockout power, and he's just a beast. So my pick on that is Glover.
Mm-hmm. Shocker.
There's no props, so I don't know what the line would be for inside the distance or by TKO, but that would be something to keep an eye on, to take a look at when they do come out.
Okay.
But Glover's the pick there. And as I was saying, I wouldn't take Phil Davis if I'm looking for something in that minus 400 range. I think Glover's a much safer pick.
Right.
So Glover's
and
taking
Phil
out
Davis
Maldonado.
is your boy.
And I love Phil Davis.
Right. Okay, and then the last one is Big Nog, right?
Yep. Big Nog versus Dave Herman. Big Nog's at minus 290. Herman's at plus 210. So 2-1 favorite, 2-1 dog. Here's the thing about this fight. Dave Herman's a bit of an enigma.
What was that? Okay, yeah.
Simply because you don't know how motivated he is. You don't know how seriously he's taking his career. He's kind of had that Sasquatch thing. He's kind of showed up looking not in great shape. But when he is in the octagon, he's great. He's a beast. He throws agile knees. He throws great. He has great stand up. Mm-hmm. He reminds me a little bit of Travis Brown, a little unconventional, but faster, bigger, stronger than a lot of the other guys. But the thing about him is you don't really know about his motivations. And I think that is a factor because on the feet, I think that he outclasses Big Nog. Big Nog's a good boxer, but he's a little bit slow, a little bit predictable, very classical versus Herman, who has a more diverse range of attacks. He's very unpredictable. But I really can't call for the upset just because I don't know which Dave Herman's going to show up. But that said, I think that Big Nog's out to prove something anyway. After having his arm taken home by Mir, I think that he's coming into this fight to make a statement. I think he's going to take Herman to the ground rather than trying to stand with him, which has kind of been what Big Nog's been about these last couple of years, is more standing and boxing, using the jiu-jitsu if I have to.
Right.
I think he's going to take Herman down and take his arm home. So I'm picking Nog by submission. I think that he's gonna take Herman out.
All right.
Make his point.
I can't wait to watch Big Nog in Rio again. That was unbelievable when he beat Brendan Schaub. All right, so we have to get to Eric Albarracin, but let me recap. You're not picking you're saying stay away from the Anderson Silva fight. You're picking John Fitch, and you said the sexy pick is inside the distance. You're picking Damian Maia via submission. You're picking Big Nog via submission. And what's the one I'm missing here?
Phil Davis.
Phil Davis, stay away.
And Glover Teixeira.
And Glover Teixeira will finish, right?
Yep.
All right. Them's the picks. We'll recap at the end of the show as well. Those are Rick's picks, brought to you by no one. But hopefully one day we will have a sponsor for Rick's picks.